Yo, what's up, gang? Today we'll be talking about Chronos Gem Story's lore, specifically Shigure's lore. Well, I can't cover the entire thing in one go, as it's gonna cause the video to go upwards of over 30 minutes long. And I believe you guys won't wanna see a vid about a stickman game for that long. So I'll cut it into multiple parts. I will cover Amane and Edmund's chapter until I finish Shigure's. Also, I'm kind of sick right now, so my voice is terrible. Anyway, let's begin. So the lore starts with how Hisame, Shigure's mother, was being kicked off by a handmaid, and essentially the Hisame was the heir of a family, and because she was sent to be married to Amasu, who was a king of the Ongoku city, the capital has to kick her off because she could get assassinated, but no. And Amasu loves her a lot, but the fuckers, they think that farmers don't work at this time, so they kick her off. And also, the waitress slaps Isabel, I just want to point out. And she had to walk away to somewhere to survive, and she was starving off dead because classic Japan. She found a village and tell no one about Shigure, her son, who was still in her womb. We see Shigure's POV in Act 2. Some time has passed, and this time, witnessing his mother dying from a fatal disease, Isama tells him that he cannot survive in this village because no one here gives a shit about him, and how she lied to Shigure about how his father died, and she reveals his father's true identity. His father was Hamasu, king of the capital of Ongoku. Shigure didn't believe her at first, but she kept proving to him that she was not going insane, and that Shigure was the heir of a king, and he had the bloodline of a prince. She believed that Shigure would be accepted by her once to be husband, before drawing out her last breath. Shigure, whom had taken her words to heart, still not really trusting what she said, but rather accepted to follow her words because he had nowhere left to go and how the village would not trust him, decided to take an adventure to Ongoku City. The day of becoming a prince for him would never come, however, as he encountered the infamous group of bandits at Mount Naruto. In F4, we can see Shigure's POV making his path to Ongoku City. He didn't believe that even if he made it there, he would have been relieved. His ancestors low-key carried him though as he walked through the woods without getting lost or getting absolutely demolished by wolves. However, he did face something worse. The fateful night, he was surrounded by the infamous group of bandits of Mountain Naruto. Tobari, Kaina's close guard, assures to Kaina that there is no value of raiding Shigure, the kid who had barely anything with him. Kaina notices as such and was sure that Shigure was a runaway for his wrapped clothing and being on the mountain at late times. Tobari suggested Kaina to just cut Shigure off, and he was afraid that a child, yes, a child, could get them in trouble by Tato and said he's seen us. Because Kaina has common sense and is not afraid of a fucking 40 years old. He tried to let Shigure go, leaving excuses like the wolves could pick him up later. He then noticed that Shigure would blindly see a stick from the side of the road and noticed that Shigure is ready to fight him to protect his life. Kaina challenges Shigure to attack and wound him, so he will let Shigure go. Cory, being a bitch like she always is, tells the gang that Kaina is stupid and crazy and continues to not giving a shit and tell everyone about the deadline before sunrise. Kaina scoffs Cory for being Cory and the entire gang for being afraid of a child. But while they were scolding, Shigure took the chance and instantly launched in, likely magic poke and wounded Kaina with a stick. Some time has passed and it seems that because Shigure spent all his strength on that one blow, he just went unconscious without Kaina managed to get him inside his cloak on the shoulder. Kaina wants Shigure to not struggle and stay silent, and he knows his chaos won't be death of doubts. Kaina compliments Shigure for having the guts to even try fighting a group of bandits for survival, and decided to ask him if he was a runaway. When Shigure didn't nod, it shows that he didn't have anywhere to go. Kaina asks if Shigure wants to join his army of bandits. Kaina foreshadows what Shigure must do in order to be one of the bandits, and Shigure still agreed even with such terms because he had nowhere else to go. Kaina, the one who later becomes his second father, who I'm referring to Dad before the law rewrite, was in fact a good person, but we'll talk about this later. Our main priority right now is still Shigure, the main character. Shigure became one of these bandits. Kaina talks to Shigure about how much of a twink he is. Just kidding, he just says that he's not good at close combat, and complimented how Shigure is fairly good at hunts. Shigure, who's still being humble, says that Kaina is way better than him. Kaina simply replies that experience determines a person's skills, specifically the movement and thought, and applying them on the go. In this conversation, they were having morning training, is what I pointed out, I guess. Shigure asks Kaina why he's leading a group of bandits because of it contradicting the psychology of steal from the rich, give to the poor, and steal from the evil. And he also pointed out how Kaina only targeted the scoundrels, and Shigure, who was still naive, decided to believe Kari's words and told Kaina that he was just pretending to target scoundrels for more valor. Kaina replies, saying that he is not pretending, and explains to Shigure that if the bandits only attack and steal from other people to survive, we will only turn into beasts beyond our own comprehension. He further clarified his point that even if they live a respectable life, if they have to betray their own principles to survive, they won't even recognize their real self from their own betrayal to themselves. Even if one is born noble, if the core rots, you're worse than the bandit. Kaina never wanted to become a bandit. He simply wants to live staying true to what he believed, even if his method was somewhat questionable. He noticed Shigure was getting absolutely confused over his event and tells him that he does not have to understand this whole thing and it's just personal stuff. Shigure tells him that he's been searching for his father, who he has never even seen his face when he was born. He laments and wonders if a father could be like Kaina, and thinks that if he could have a father like him, that'd be nice. Kaina jokes around with Shigure, indirectly referring that Shigure is being a bit overdramatic, and asks for his age, whom replied that he was 14. Kaina, who's kind of dumbfounded, says that he's not good enough to have a kid at Shigure's age, and Shigure refers to him as a dad rather than a father. I still don't understand the difference, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just the Japanese thing. Kaina, seemingly taking this seriously, decides to punish him with afternoon training, but it doesn't end up well for him. Both laugh happily. Everything is gone to shit. We start the episode with Shigure rushing to Kaina to tell him that all the bandits are armed and searching for Kaina to kill him. Kaina, being the chat he is, calmly asks Shigure how many bandits are in the rebellion camp. Shigure reports almost all of them. Kaina was already sure that his final allies who were loyal enough were already killed, so only Shigure is his remaining ally. Confused on how Kaina could keep such a cool head, Shigure continues trying to break the situation down to his boss, but to no avail, as Kaina clearly mentions that they are working in the bandit group and how loyalty isn't part of a contract. I wish there was one. Kaina quickly strategized for the two to head down the mountains and hide. Out of nowhere, shots fired. The two noticed and began moving. Kaina tells Shigure to stay calm and follow the stream to come to the rock ledges for better cover, and for how the sun is setting, giving them camouflage advantage to evade, meanwhile telling Shigure to try to save his bullets and only fire to push them back. As the two continue running, Shigure probably mumbles to himself of the traitors for everything Kaina has done for all of them. Kaina notices that the ledges are just right ahead and tells Shigure to not look back, but because Shigure was some angsty cop kid, he did the average. Guys, run! I hold them off! Me, making his position clear and clearly seeable. As he was about to be shot, Kaina jumps out to tank the coming shot that will hit Shigure, which will hit his leg. Kaina continues pursuing Shigure to run away, while he has a wound on his leg and still trying to catch up to him. The two stops on the road, with Kaina's wound getting worse to the point he cannot run anymore. Kaina continues ignoring the wound and tells Shigure to not make a fuss about it. Shigure keeps muttering while Kaina shooting him from that one shot. Kaina tells him that he will protect the one who called him father, the one who became his family. He also already knew that all was his fault, and he knew Tokori and Tobari were planning a rebellion against him. He did not expect for the entire gang to follow the plan, however, as Corey's goals were not long-term. He contemplates himself on how it could have possibly been his charisma, which caused the entire bandit gang to rival against him. Shigure continues trying to get him up to run as they'll catch up to them in no time. He hoped that both could run down to the town at the foot of the mountain and hide there until morning, which cannot be solved because of Kaina's bounty being too well known. If he was found, he was likely to be hanged, and he cannot flee with such wound, likely on his leg. Kaina asks Shigure for two flavors. First, take his silver revolver, that is very expensive, and he asks for Shigure to use it, or if he doesn't want to use the revolver, sell it for a hefty amount of cash. And his final favor, shoot him with the gun. Shigure, completely infuriated and scared, continues trying to convince him otherwise. Unsurprisingly, Kaina tells him that he could have freed Shigure from such a life, but he never wanted to. He believes he has ruined Shigure's life. Kaina wants Shigure to shoot him and cut off his head for atonement, to find a proper life, to be a good person. Shigure keeps denying, saying that he was abandoned and Kaina is everything to him. Met with such an answer, Kaina told him to find a place for himself, to rely on himself, to fight for himself. Somewhere, someday, there'll be someone waiting for him. Keep searching until then, he says again, with one thing in mind: he can never run forever, and he'll lose his head one day. He wants Shigure to be the one to do it, for the greater good. As Shigure was about to shoot, Kaina says that he is content for the life he has lived. Shigure screams "Dad" in agony for what he has done to the only one who he has trusted for so long. The gang has reached the position. Corey, who noticed Shigure, who was carrying Kaina's severed head and his gun, was amazed over how he could have done such a thing. Corey indirectly tells Shigure that he was a dead backstabber because of how he used to trail after him, calling him dad, yet seems to be the one who has killed him. Corey continues making fun of him, asking him sarcastically over how he could have tricked Kaina and abyss him in the chaos, knowing full well that Kaina was a bit wounded and could never go down that easily. Shigure, who is still naive and serious, tells her that he did not ambush him. Corey continues pursuing him, praising him over keeping what happened a secret. She says that the bandit gang is sick of Kaina's ways of doing things and the gangs no more. She clearly reveals herself as the perpetrator. She asks for Shigure to drop Kaina's lifeless head and his trusty gun to the ground as a bounty, so Shigure could run away scot-free. But Shigure does what he believes is true to his heart. Attempted to shoot Corey but missed on the rock ledge, likely to distract him, and began running away. Tobari tells Corey to begin searching for Shigure as dusk awaits. Corey commands Tobari to pick up a few men and search for him. Corey, still being the bitch she is, self-praises herself for how she managed to keep the remaining great loot secured, and how she cut down the spare of the loot. Shigure with dusk and the mountains covering him, managed to make it to the town at the foot of the mountain without being spotted and caught. He pretended to be a bounty hunter and handed his dad's head to the sheriff and pretended that he managed to encounter the bandits and killed the leader cleanly. Corey couldn't have held the bandit gang together as she didn't have the willpower or the ambition for such, and the bandit gang fell apart naturally. People rumored that Shigure was the one who managed to wipe out the entire bandit gang. They began calling him the hero. From then on, wherever he goes, he is always referred to as a hero. But only Shigure knows what truly happened back then. So, what can we pull out from this story? Shigure is a bounty hunter who was a bandit and had the bloodline of a king. He had a miserable life and he lost everything. His dad died, his mother died, he has no one to rely on. Well, that's it for today's video. Also, Mr. Mind, if you are watching this video, bring back the old translation!